Hello, thank you for tuning in to our Alumni Career Tips. My name's Roberta Watson, and I'm from Jefferson's Alumni Office. Today, we are joined by Ainsley Maloney, who serves as the Associate Director of Industry Relations in the Mary Ann Abel Career Services Center, located on our East Falls campus. In just 15 minutes, Ainsley will share some tips and tricks for refreshing your resume. So with that, Ainsley, go ahead and take it away.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today I'm going to share with you some tips on how to refresh your resume. Some of you may already have a professional resume. Others may not have even touched your resume since college, which is perfectly fine. We're going to start by talking about the distinctions between the two. In college, you were likely told to start with an objective, keep it to one page, put your education first and include things like your GPA and coursework, and not to include a picture. Now that you're an experienced professional, we're going to show you how to write a professional summary rather than an objective. 2 pages is fine as long as you have strong content to justify it. Keep in mind that your best material still has to appear on the first page or the recruiter is unlikely to read down to page 2. You want to lead with your experience first and move your education toward the bottom of your resume. At this point, we suggest removing your GPA and coursework since that's unlikely to impress an employer at this stage of the game. You can keep certain distinctions and awards next to your degree though. Professional headshots are fine, but keep in mind that they don't necessarily improve your resume and they can even introduce unconscious biases on the part of the hiring manager. So while they are becoming more acceptable with LinkedIn, we don't necessarily recommend them. We advise that you save that valuable real estate on your resume for strong content instead. You might be comforted to learn that the general layout and look of a resume hasn't changed that much in the past 10 years. Experts have been speculating for years that LinkedIn is supposed to replace the resume. The resume is going to be irrelevant. But quite honestly, that has not happened at all. I speak to employers on a daily basis, and before considering any candidate, their first question is, can you send me the resume? Recruiters still want to be able to pass your resume around to their colleagues, upload you into their applicant tracking system, or print out your resume before your interview. So this is still the crucial first step in applying to any position. The good news is that you can create a professional looking resume using Microsoft Word. Consider that there are some must-haves. Your resume has to be a clean format that's easy for the employer to read and find the material. So if your font is too small, that makes it harder for the employer to read. You want to make sure that they can easily find your job titles, that your most important things are in bold, that your sections are clearly separated out, that there's enough white space that they aren't just working through blocks of text. As you can see here, the dates are going down the right-hand column so that the employer can simply glance down the right-hand side and see all the dates that you were employed with a particular company. You want to triple check your resume for spelling errors. Employers have told us that if you can't get this one document right and perfect, how can we trust that you're going to be sending out emails to clients and representing our brand and be thorough about it? So make sure that you not only look at your resume, but you send it out to somebody else, a friend or family member, to look at before applying with it. And lastly, it needs to be consistent. So if you put periods at the end of your bullets, make sure that there are periods at the end of every bullet throughout your entire document. One trick that we'd suggest is Googling your job title and the word resume just to see some examples. Every industry is different, so this will give you a start on the design and content that's popular for your industry. It's important that you're proud of your resume because it's what you're putting out into the world. It's what's representing you. So on our website, we've included some Microsoft Word formatting tips to help you create a professional resume. This is important because a lot of times alumni will hand in their resumes and say, I don't know why, I just can't get the spacing to work, or I don't know why, but I can't get these bullets to indent correctly and align with each other. So on our website, if you go to eastfalls.jefferson.edu/career, you'll see under resources on the right-hand side, a resumes and cover letters button. When you click on that, you'll then see our formatting instructional video, where we can help you learn to play around with the design and layout. When you click on that video, we take an unedited resume like the one on the left, and in under 10 minutes, we show you how to make it a perfectly edited resume to make it look more like the resume on the right. If you're in a creative field, we highly recommend canva.com. It's a free website and they have beautiful resume templates and it's really easy to use. So who is the user of your resume? Asking this question can help give us that mindset shift to look at our document with fresh eyes. Now, I hope that this isn't new information to everyone, but Your resume is not for you. So if your resume is a history of everything you've ever done, it reads like an autobiography, you don't want to let anything go, you've created it for you. But you're not trying to capture your attention. You're trying to capture the attention of the employer who's hiring for that role. That means that you need to learn how to think like the employer and target your resume to the person hiring for that job at that particular company. And yes, that does mean that you have to edit your resume to match every job that you apply to. You get just 6 seconds to capture an employer's attention. So to understand what that feels like, I'm going to flash a resume in front of the screen for 6 seconds, and we'll see what you remember. What type of job is this candidate applying to? I hope you said marketing executive or marketing VP. This is a really good strategy to try. If you take your resume and you give it to a friend or a neighbor and you have them look at it for 6 seconds and then take it away, ask them, what job do you think I'm applying to? If they do not say the job title that you're applying to, that's a problem. Think like the employer. Your goal is to make it easy for the employer to hire you, which means making it easy for them to see why you're a great fit to the job. And that means that you're going to want to put only your best and most relevant material up in the top third of your resume. Ask yourself, what does the employer hiring for this job care most about? How could you possibly know that? How could you possibly know what the employer is thinking or what the employer cares about? The job description. The job description holds all of the answers because the employer wrote it with the ideal candidate in mind. So when you read through it, you want to think about the fact that they're telling you exactly what they want and exactly what they're looking for. You need to make sure that your resume is that person. So when you're looking through the job description, focus on keywords. We're going to identify 10 to 15 keywords that are mentioned first or most often. And then also think about what 3 things seem to matter most to this employer when they're looking for the ideal candidate. So we'll start with the keywords. Go through and underline some common industry-specific keywords and also the programs or applications that they're looking for at the bottom. You want to make sure all of those applications spelled exactly the way that they're spelled or abbreviated the way that they're abbreviated appear on your resume exactly, even if you're copying and pasting them in. And then when you look at your resume and compare it to the job, you want to sprinkle some of those keywords into your resume to match the job. Now, this may be as simple as replacing a word. You may have used user experience and you see that they're using the word usability. So you're just going to replace that. Or you may realize, oh, I've created infographics before. I just didn't think to put that on my resume. So I'll add a new bullet. Since this employer clearly cares about knowing that I have that experience, I'll add a new bullet to highlight that. Most resumes are run through applicant tracking systems. They're scanned through a computer before they even get to a human to make sure that your resume matches the job. So what are they looking for? Think about it. If they're looking to make sure that your resume matches the job, they're looking for these keywords. So if you make sure that these keywords are sprinkled throughout your resume, it will get through that computer and will actually get into the hands of a human, which is the whole goal here. Next, we're going to comb through the job description and identify the top 3 themes that this employer is clearly looking for in the ideal candidate. The first quality that this job requires is a variety of expertise. So they want someone with 7 years of experience on web, mobile, desktop, a variety of different applications. The second quality is experience designing for clients. So it's one thing to be able to design in-house for one single company, and it's another to be able to be client-facing and adapt to clients' different needs and different company logos or brands. And the third quality is success at leading and developing a team. So any management or leadership experience is going to be helpful in this case. Next, you want to go back to your resume with these top 3 things in mind and refresh the order. So what will the employer see first? Your best, most relevant material should be at the top third of the page because that's where the employer looks first. Your professional summary is going to show at a glance why you're the best fit for the job. And then we move on to the order. So your job experiences should be in reverse chronological order, starting with the job that you're in now, down to past jobs. But sometimes that creates a little bit of a problem. So let's say you used to be a fashion designer, but recently you've taken some time off and you've just gotten back into the field and now you're an office manager at a dentist's office, but you want to go back into fashion design. If you submit this resume, it is correct. It's in reverse chronological order. You're starting with the job that you are working in now, going down to jobs you've had in the past. However, this resume is not going to stand out to a fashion design employer because they're only thinking about fashion design. They're laser focused on their needs. So we have to work a little magic to get your relevant material up at the top of your resume because we need to capture that employer's attention in 6 seconds. One way to do that is to create a new header called Relevant Experience and pull up that job title that is relevant to the job that you're applying to and put it up at the top. Below that, you can create a heading called Other Work Experience and then put all of the other experiences that you've had to show that you have been working through this time, but they're just in other fields. Now go back through your resume and read your bullet points. We want to make sure that your resume contains strong content. One way to quickly amp up your resume is to add some numbers, percentages, and dollar signs to show the impact that you've had with the company. Make sure that your bullet points focus on results, not just tasks. So a lot of us fall into the trap of having our bullet points just be the things that we do every day. So I call prospects every day, so I'll put that as my bullet point. That's not necessarily the most effective. The employer hiring for this role is going to be most interested in the fact that you developed a successful VIP membership program, so that bullet is actually the one that should come first. So once again, we want to read through your resume thinking like the employer. Now, as the employer, I'm looking at these bullets and thinking, great, but what do you mean by successful? That can mean different things to many different people. So as a recruiter, I don't care what you spent the most time doing. I want to see the results and I want to see the numbers that back those results. One trick when you're reading through your resume is to, at the end of the sentence, add the phrase "in order to." So you built effective and profitable client relationships across the tri-state area. In order to what? In order to increase sales or increase membership. That is actually the result. So that's the bullet that we now need to focus on creating. And in order to make that bullet even stronger, we're going to also ask ourselves, by how much? So by how much did I increase sales or membership? And then over what amount of time? Well, I did it in a year. So now this helps to quantify the impact that we've had on the company. So now we're going to go back and rewrite our bullets so that we focus more on the results. So the first bullet becomes contributed to a 30% sales growth in 2019 by developing a VIP program offering exclusive perks. Second bullet is converted 1,000 members to the VIP program in 1 year, exceeding company goals by 20%. As you can see, these bullets are now action verbs. They start with things like converted, contributed, launched, initiated, developed. And the numbers really help to show evidence and prove the impact that we've had on the company. You're going to finalize your resume by crafting a professional summary. And we saved this for the end because this is a summary of all the great content that you've already included in your resume. It's 4 to 5 bullets or sentences up at the top that ties your resume into the job and showing that you're a great fit for that particular position. You don't just want to regurgitate everything that you already wrote in your resume, but what you do want to do is summarize for the employer so that they don't have to guess. So this person's a biologist. He's already included his education and his job experiences below, but you don't want to leave it up to the employer to count, well, how many years of experience does that mean? In your executive summary, you can spell that out. So he says molecular biologist with 8 years experience, making it very clear that he meets the qualifications that the employer is looking for. You also want to use the summary to touch on the top things the employer should know about you, highlight special skills that separate you from other candidates, and most importantly, make sure that you're tying your resume to the job. You've already identified the 3 themes that the employer is looking for. Make sure that this summary really hits on how you match all of those 3 themes. Going back to our advice before, you want to make it as easy as you can for the employer to see why you're a great fit for the role, and this does that right away. It sets the scene and encourages the employer to keep reading because it captures their attention right away and shows that you're a qualified candidate.
Thank you so much, Ainsley, and thank you to each of you for tuning into this Alumni Career Tips video. I hope you found the information helpful and were able to pull some tips and tricks to apply to your own resumes. If you're looking for additional resources, I encourage you to first join our official alumni LinkedIn group. We post helpful career-related content along with events on a weekly basis. You can find us on LinkedIn at Thomas Jefferson University Alumni Networking Group. If you'd like to watch additional pre-recorded videos, Please visit our YouTube channel and subscribe. We have a library of different options ranging in topics for you to select from. You can find us on YouTube at Thomas Jefferson University Alumni. Finally, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see 3 websites: our alumni website and our 2 career centers located on the East Falls and the Center City campuses. Watching, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye-bye.